On October the 29th, Mercury enters into the sign of Sagittarius, the same day the Atlas comet, in quotes, is moving into its closest proximity to the sun called perihelion. And this is an interesting time because when Mercury moves into the sign of Sagittarius, he's going to immediately form an opposition to shock and awe, interstellar, Uranian energy, Uranus across the way. And this energy could literally look like a very big news surprise coming our way at that time. And it's pretty exciting. So I'm going to be talking a bit about AI Atlas in our sky as Mercury on October 29th, happy Halloween, moves into Sagittarius and activates a shocking, surprising story to do with Uranus. Now, it won't just be about AI Atlas being close to the sun on that date. Did I say that right? AI Atlas. That's like AI. Sorry, not AI Atlas. Let me repeat myself. Three-eye Atlas, third interstellar object we've seen in our sky. But also, I want to bring your attention to another part of the story. This is the part of the sky where Mercury is moving is fire. Sagittarius is fire. And fire is important because Mercury has finished up his elemental fire time frame that Gary Caton, an expert in Mercury, talks about, because starting in April of 2024 and following into like the Leo season and the Sag season, here we go again. Our April, Aries, Leo, Sag, Mercury's been predominantly finding his retrogradation, bringing him through the fire signs. And this is important because this fire energy is coming to a close. Indeed, we're moving into a 1.5-year period that's going to be at this year and the rest of this year into the end of next year about water. I'm going to show you a chart to see that. That means us Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius have been under a huge amount of renovation, revising, and revisioning our lives through the energy of Mercury retrogrades. Now, as he moves into Sagittarius, this October 29th, Mercury also backtracks. He will retrograde on November 18th, 19th, back into Scorpio, right? He'll have gone back to the Scorpio territory where he cameth from. And until December 12th, he'll still be in the tail end of Scorpio. Then he's going to push forward on December 12th across the sign boundary into Sag through to January 2nd. That's roughly 40 days in Sagittarius, okay? And normally Mercury spends about 3 weeks in a fire sign or any particular sign in a normal cycle. So you can see that the fire energy is still playing out, but coming to a close and passing the baton to the Scorpio part of our sky, which we're going to go into again next year, a elemental water year. I'll be talking about this a lot as we approach the new year, and I'll have Gary on my channel as a guest to talk about that as well. So first of all, before we go in and show you the sky and talk about what this might mean, I'll be doing an outro all about AI Atlas at 22 Scorpio on October 29th. That's where it will be in terms of Western tropical zodiac astrology. And we're going to talk about what that might mean for this time in our lives, where we're experiencing a very mysterious object that most scientists recognize does not have any characteristics of a traditional comet. What it actually is to be determined or maybe never known. But what I'd love to do is show you the astrology of that at the end in the outro. So today we're going to do more about your sign and maybe world events connected to Mercury in the sign of the Arrow, the centaur with a bow and arrow, ruled by Jupiter, who's now exalted. What could that bring the world? Alrighty, we'll talk about the potential very light touch on world events connected to perhaps wars, for example, that may happen with this position, particularly with Iran. But my focal point for world astrology, which is entirely free, is at my Pluto Chronicles newsletter over on Substack. And if you want to get free world astrology in depth, where I'm unplugged and I don't need to worry about algorithmic suppression by YouTube or gnarly comments about me in the comments, come join me over there and just sign up. It's free. In the description box below is a link to my Substack. All right, so let's start off with hi. If you're new here, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids. This is my wheelhouse. Love this kind of stuff. And I'm also very fond, by the way, of teaching. I am a teaching astrologer. And I'm just in the middle of teaching my Sky Reader class. In this regard, I'm going to show you right now some screenshotables that I want you to take. Why? Because you can use them and it helps you learn astrology so that I'm not giving you fish. I'm teaching you to fish. Okay. Conceptually, it's helpful. So right now I'm going to share a couple of interesting screenshotables for you. One is just handy to have this reference point, and I'll tell you where I got it from. right? I don't need to be the grand expert here. I just want to, well, that's not what I want to do. I'm sharing my hot mess of a screen, but don't worry about that. That's just because I have been plagued by interface issues, trying to get my MacBook Pro to properly interface with its silicon chip, properly interface with reality. Let's get every junky thing off the screen. So at least if I'm sharing my messy screen, I'm getting close to sharing what I wanted to share with you. And if you like this kind of content and you're new here and you want to learn astrology as well as be guided, maybe hit the like and subscribe button. That would be a nice, yeah. So let's see if I can make this one bigger. That didn't exactly work the way I wanted, but oh well. Yeah. Well, it's awful small, guys. I apologize. It's not letting me share the window. It wants me to share my whole screen again. Suddenly it fixed on a last video. Now it's back to problems, but take a look at the dates here. I'll read them to you. So I want you to know this is just a pull from a Cafe Astrology, Google Cafe Astrology Retrogrades 2025. You'll have all the data you need. But on October 21st, Mercury will enter what we call the retrograde shadow or pre-shadow zone at 20 Scorpio. That indicates that 20 degrees Scorpio will be returned to at the very end of the story. So there's old stories coming back and forth. October 21st, Mercury goes into retrograde shadow. And October the 9th, 2025, he will station or slow down and stop and form a retrograde at the 6th degree of Sag. That means for you Sagittarius is listening, sun, moon, and rising, unless you have your sun, moon, and rising in the first 6 degrees or so, then you're not really feeling the intensity yet of his forward motion and then retrograde motion through your sign, but you all still feel his presence in your sign, just not as intensely as the early degree Sag, sun, moon, and rising. On November 19th, 2025, Mercury will station and form a direct motion turnaround at 20 degrees of Scorpio. You see how he was at 20 degrees of Scorpio October 21st? He went all the way back to that degree, and now he's going forward through those last 9 degrees of Scorpio. So, of course, anyone 20 to 29 degrees of Scorpio, you're getting a lot of Mercury back and forth over your ascendant, over your sun, and over your moon, indicating changes of direction, changes of mind, having to revise, having to revision. And finally, on December the 16th, 2025, Mercury will leave the retrograde zone as he crosses 6 Sagittarius, where he was already, where he had already been back in November 9th. And in essence, it means that November 9th, right, and December 16th are interconnected, just as October 21st is interconnected to November the 29th. Now, there's one other thing I'd like to share with you, and then we're going to go ahead and read the sky. I'll be drawing a card pull for you today. Oh, that wasn't too bad. At least it didn't show you my whole messy screen. I'll go with that. This is a pull I took off of good old astroseek.com. You never need professional astrologer software. If you're using AstroSeek, you can get by with almost everything there if you want. Not everything, but a lot of stuff. So astro-seek.com. What I've done here, just to show you the themes of the elemental Mercury stories. And so Mercury will definitely be, as you can see, back here in 2017 to 2018, Mercury kept joining the sun from his retrogradation in those timeframes. He was what we call his elemental fire season, according to Gary Caton, meaning that you can pretty well say 2017 to 2018 November, new Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Leo, sun, moon, and rising, Sag, sun, moon, and rising. We're getting a lot of back and forth shifts and really intense energy from Lord Mercury. And over here in 2024, April, right, through to 2025, what did he do? April, he was been doing all the fire here. Look at the fire, guys. Fire on the brain, Mercury. Back again. This happens every roughly 7 to 8 years that you go back to your element yet again. So us Aries and Sages and Leos were going through since last April of 2024 to July 31st of 2025. That was a solar conjunction. But what we're looking at is that August energetic where Mercury spent forever in Leo. And so even though he is in Sagittarius, as we look at the sky, as he moves into Sag October 29th, we're really now moving fully into this water period down here, right? And it goes all the way for a little last gasp all the way down to 2027, but it's primarily 2025, 2026. Mercury's retrograding into the heart of the sun in the water signs, giving a huge amount of intensity to the water signs, who last experienced this in 2019 to 2020, get to do another round, 2025 to 2026. So what does it actually mean? It means that you're being in the spotlight of Mercury, who is a synchronicity, magic, trickster, coyote, that he goes forward and then he goes back, changing direction, changing your mind, revising and revisioning. There's a lot of intensity coming up for you, water signs, especially next year, and you become the focal point of Mercury's retrogrades, meaning he'll spend 6 months in water next year instead of his normal 9 weeks. Okay. So what we're going to do next, all right, is we're going to talk about the sky, which means I'll show it to you. And what we're going to do is we look at the skies. We're going to talk about how this movement of Mercury is going to trigger October 29th Atlas AI events or news or information. As you guys know, for some reason, some mysterious reason, we haven't heard anything from NASA. Yeah, government shutdown, but China also has pictures of AI Atlas, and China's not revealing them. And so there's a little bit of a suspicion here that some governments are deciding to sit on this photographic information about AI Atlas that was taken as he crossed over Mars, close to Mars, where there are various countries with cameras in orbit there. And somehow, some way, we're not getting any of the information as of my recording on October 18th. Government shutdown in the United States happened 2 days, all right, 2 days before Atlas was going to be photographed by the high-rise camera orbiting Mars that belongs to the United States. I don't know, guys. I'm not doing a conspiracy here, but like, did they want to say, well, just in case it's like stuff we don't want to divulge to the public, we will shut the government down? That sounds extreme. But why isn't China speaking up either, for example? So there's just things I'm questioning there about that. And if you don't know anything about this, I keep saying AI Atlas. I'm sorry. 3i Atlas. It doesn't have the right signature for a comet. Like comets have tails that go away from the sun as the comet approaches. Instead, this thing had a front end, like as if it was pulling energy from the sun. It was a front end, like not even a tail, a front, light of streaming toward the sun. Or it has a lot of pure nickel, which only happens in industrial metals. It's not mixed with the right stuff. It's got an inner glow. It's got a lot of signatures that make no sense. I'm not saying it's a spaceship, but we don't know what it is. And actually it is appearing to move on a steady orbit, right? Like I mean, in a steady line. It's not like moving around and stuff like that I know of, but if you wanted to disguise a probe or a ship, would you not make it look sort of like an asteroid or a comet? And would you maybe not think that you want to keep it at a relatively steady speed so no one suspects? Because then if it starts and accelerates, we know it's not a comet or an asteroid. All right. Because they move on a known speed and trajectory and a vector through the sky. All right, just like when you throw a ball, right? The ball doesn't suddenly zigzag, stop, and slow down. It's got a momentum, a trajectory, a vector. It's going in that direction. All right, so let's go ahead and show you the sky. And the outer will have an AI Atlas story. Well, that's not what I'm sharing, but let's keep working on it. All right. Somehow I got it to work last time again, but it's whatever. So here we have the sky. I've cued it for Aries so we can just keep the Aries sky here. I just want to show you what happens. You'll see this is October 18th. I'm recording. Mercury's going to bump into Mars. I've been waiting. I'm recording on October 18th. I've been waiting for late disclosures about, three-letter agencies, whistleblowers, the Kirk assassination, and maybe the photos from AI Atlas, 3i Atlas, coming with Mars and Mercury combining forces here. That's a possibility, right? But as we move on, I've just done a video on the water trine, which could bring hurricanes and storms in the week ahead after this October 18th timeframe, the whole week ahead, hurricanes, tidal waves, storms, or political storms. But then watch Mercury get further and further along. And then watch him cross over here. Right now, this is going to happen around 4 a.m. Pacific time when he's exactly crossing that border into Sagittarius. And the first thing he does as he crosses over the Sag line is he is opposing Uranus. Now, he is opposing Uranus before that. Okay, but it's not an in-sign opposition, which in ancient astrology counts. Like that's what you're looking for. But if you're just doing the opposition to the planet out of sign, he's already bringing unexpected shock, news, and surprises in his opposition to Uranus as early as October the 26th, 5th or 6th. So it's in play. But here it's pretty exact by sign. And there's something about the day that the perihelion of Atlas, let's call 3i Atlas, is happening, that there may be some surprising or shocking news coming through our news stories in the sky, in our like news cycle, on broadcast news, on YouTube news, who cares? And you'll notice as well that as Mercury does this, he sextiles Pluto and the moon, and which is interesting, right? So maybe some information coming through, we the people. And he's also in a beautiful trine to Saturn and Neptune. He's doing good things, right? He's trying his best to bring something good. Now, this is an out of sign trine. He's exactly in a trine to Saturn and Neptune on the 28th. So 28th, 29th, something is trying to happen here that could be interesting. Same with the Pluto situation. He's really in an in-sign relationship that, so he's perfectly situated here. So as soon as he crosses the sign boundary, Pluto and him are talking. Pluto is what is hidden from view, what is cloaked from view. Pluto in the ancient mythology had a cloaking device. So what is cloaked from our view, what is hidden from our view, what's not easily understood, or what needs to be divulged from the places of hiddenness, Mercury's good at is espousing information, and from that has been hidden. So hidden information, it could come out. It may shock and surprise us all around the 29th, 28th, 29th, 30th, around Halloween. Now, the other thing I want to draw our attention to before I do our all signs storyline is a simple other little matter of attention for everybody here. You will see Atlas not comment whatever it is. You will see it being visible. Thank you to Stefan Burns for doing that research. And you will see that at 22 degrees or so, I think it's 22 degrees and 40 odd minutes of Scorpio. So this is where in our Western tropical zodiac, we will see this particular Atlas story going on. But something, we'll just make a little circle here, 22 degrees, which is considered a dire kill or be killed degree by degree beast theory guy Nikolai Stefanovich, who's Serbian and has passed away. But also, as this is occurring, right, as this is happening, it's interesting for me, just as an astrologer, that it's going to be Mercury at 21 degrees of Sagittarius over here, semi-sextile. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to say. Oh my God, my brain. He's going to go back all the way back to around 21 degrees of Scorpio and cross over the 22 degree mark, where in his retrogradation, where we've actually seen this happen. So it may be delayed information, delayed news as well about AI Atlas. Now, also, you'll notice that Jupiter at 24 degrees is flowing in a benefic triangle to AI Atlas. Therefore, simply said, don't be afraid. Okay, fear not, for there is divine protection. What else could go on here? This is possibly going to begin the incitement of difficulties with Iran. Iran is got an Aries sun. He's potentially Uranus and Aries rising. Iran is also a Leo. Also a Sag 17 degree ascendant in one of its very, very accurate charts based on the Islamic Republic and all of that. So you could possibly find that as Mercury sort of goes into this part of the sky, makes it to 6 degrees, but not all the way to the ascendant of Iran, and then backtracks. There may be the rumblings of shocking, surprising developments regarding Iran. And of course, that warmongering nation fighting 7 countries on 7 fronts at once, rogue nation in the Middle East with the letter IS. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised that they didn't put to bed as best they could the Gaza debacle / genocide in order to now begin a confrontation with Iran with the backing of Trump. So there is that story that could look very much like everyone's surprised or shocked. It could actually be Iran making a first strike that shocks everybody. And of course, I hope they don't do that because it gives the world excuses, right, to go to war there. But in fact, they're just waiting for Israel to attack. Now we're going to go ahead and do your sign. And I will be talking more about world astrology, and I will be very unplugged over in Substack. And I'll be writing intensively about the situation in the Middle East without worrying about my words getting me in trouble here. Now, whoa. I want to share the deck I'm going to use when we do the astrology with your sign. We're going to blend it. All right. And this is the Voyager deck. This is a tarot deck, not an oracle deck. And this is perfect for Mercury, the messenger of the gods, because he gets 78 messages to choose from. It's not limited. And also, I want to share something really funny about this. This is a deck that my girlfriend, Audrey, bought years ago when she lived in California. And I believe she bought this in New York City. I apologize. She was visiting me in Manhattan. I lived in New York City back in the day. My memory serves me. This was at the Magical Child bookstore for you Manhattanites. It was down, I think, on 19th or 18th in Chelsea, probably between 5th and 6th Avenue, or 6th and 7th, probably 6th and 7th. And I used to go to the Magical Child at lunch when I had a job at a magazine editor. I was an associate editor of a magazine. I was in my 20s, and she came to visit me. And I think this is where she bought that deck. We were together, and we went to the Magical Child. She was spending some time with me and bought this deck. In fact, 90% likely it's the Magical Child era. But anyway, because what is so funny, she's passed away, and I was gifted this deck by her husband, along with a wooden box she kept it in, which I also believe she bought with me in New York City. And we're talking about me in New York City, 1987 to 1991. And it's so funny to go back in time and look at this. They had a little envelope in the back of the box that you could send this card to. And it says, still have the envelope. And you can check off these things. For the address was P.O. Box 1227, Carmel, California. And Carmel, California. And look at what you can get, an audio cassette description of the cards. Seriously? An audio cassette description of the cards. I'm just enchanted by the time traveling element of this deck. Now, Mercury is the magician, the synchronistic maestro, the one that brings us information that we need from our dream life, that brings us what we need to know through the voices of others. When he is retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, Scorpio, because he crosses the boundary. This is going to be in a very important window, the retrogradation time, November 9th to the 29th of November. He's retrograde. We'll be talking about that in a separate video, but I'm going to encourage you to tune into your synchronicity and your magic. He is a maestro of synchronistic magic, meaningful coincidences, strange messages coming to you from angels and guides and dead people when he's retrograde. So we can use that information proactively. I wonder if I've got a smudge on my camera. This is my brand new. Looks like I put my finger on this. I look blurry to myself. Maybe a bit better. Okay, let's go ahead and do your sign. We're going to start with if you're listening today for your rising sign, think about your ascendant then. This is your simulation avatar in the game of life. It's not the real you. It's kind of the character that you're playing after you took your first breath, the ascendant. The sun is your essential nature. It's the one who is inhabiting the identity, the personality, the body. So it's your spiritual essence, your core essential self. And your moon is kind of actually truly your mind. And your mind is how you think and feel about life. And often that's a big hot mess, right? We're slaves to our thinking, feeling complexes. But the moon can also just literally mean home-based matters, nest. And the sun can represent purpose and career. And the rising sign is very sensitive to circumstantial events astrologically, and often is most accurate for many people. However, before the age of 7 and after the age of 44, a lot of people wake up. They inhabit the solar energy before the age of 7, and they wake back up to their solar energy after the age of 44. And it doesn't have to be age specific. If you're barking down the enlightenment tree and you're just disengaging from the character and finding the true you, then of course it's going to be that you can feel the solar energy earlier in life. So listen for all of those. Let me know how it goes. If you're listening now in the premiere, please hit my like button and subscribe and share this video with friends and family. Mercury always is a dud. I put Mercury videos out. Nobody likes Mercury. People are bored with Mercury. Mercury never does well in the algorithm. So if you could really pump it up for me, I'd really appreciate that. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the chart, and we're going to go through each separate sign. had to pause my recording because someone came into my waiting room, and I'm always shocked by that because I'm like, we just finished teaching Sky Reader this morning. I'm hoping people know what time class is 4 weeks into the class. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me open up the Sky. I know this is terrible again. I'm showing you my messy desktop. I will get a Zoom ticket going again and asking what happened to my window share, which comes and goes. Now, let's start over here. I'm going to begin with Aries, and we're going to talk about how this might operate for you. Now, don't forget, Mercury will be in Sagittarius for 40 days or so. That's crazy, right? It's not just he's not just in and out, but he's in Sagittarius on October the 29th, and he stays in Sagittarius, right, as he's doing his gig here until November the 19th. Because then he's going to slide back into Scorpio. So we're really going to talk about October 29th to November the 19th today. We're going to keep it to the first ingress into the sign of Sag. And so you can use that as a data set, October 29th to November the 19th. And I'm just going to make sure, because I'm remiss in this, I forgot to double check to see if there's an asteroid that greets him at the door of Sagittarius. Because if there is an asteroid that greets him at the door of Sagittarius, then there's going to be meaning to that. And it's funny that the asteroid for outer space, Urania, is sitting with the moon on the moment of his ingress with Pluto, and Urania is like UFOs and spaceships and outer space stuff. You can't make this up. But I'm not putting Urania in there now. I'm just going to see that Mercury himself has not kind of crashed headlong into a particular minor asteroid body. Then if that's true, we would definitely use that information to parse the story. But I don't think that's true. So all I'm doing is I'm talking to you. Oh, Ceto. I forgot about Ceto. Okay, we're going to put Ceto in there. That's important for the world. All right, Ceto. So let's add Ceto. I'm just going to stick it in there. You'll be able to see next to Mercury. I believe it's going to be right beside Mercury in the same sign, but let's double check. Maybe not. Maybe Ceto is in Scorpio, but it's tightly aspected nonetheless. Okay. There's Ceto. So as Mercury crosses, this is Ceto. This is the goddess of the dangers of the sea, the monsters of the sea monster energy. Okay. And of course, I would also say in modern day, sea monsters can be submarines. So there is something going on with the god of war and the monsters of the sea. This also can be storms because Neptune's on Shiat, the storm god disaster with floods and tidal waves. So we could see something happening around the 28th. 27th, 28th, 26th, 27th, 28th, with that kind of theme going on. I covered this a bit already in my earlier video that came out just before this one or the one before. Now, what Mercury does here is he has some shocking surprises for you, for me, and the world. He's not with an asteroid. He's all on his lonesome. He is ruled by Jupiter in Jupiter's house, and Jupiter is telling him kind of like what to do. But there is kind of what we call an aversion here. So Jupiter is a little bit like weak in his guidance of Mercury. He's not really paying that much attention. So there is that. Mercury is kind of on his own in some regards. He's got his agency here. I would say also with Mercury in this position, opposite Uranus, whatever the surprise is or the shock is or whatever it is, it's going to connect to also the Gemini sky. And so we're going to read each sign from the Gemini and the Sagittarius storylines with a little touch point on Pluto. And let's make it very simple. And why am I doing that? Because it is simple and I want to keep the story simple, stupid. I should have done that beforehand, but now I'm going to do it now. We're going to delete a bunch of stuff. We want Mercury in there. We don't need to have Neptune and Saturn because they're out of sign and it just looks confusing to the eyeball, right? That's what I'm trying to suggest. And we want to make it like, very clean. I want this thing to be the focal point for your sign. This is called a wedge. We can see that Chiron's trying to heal the wounds of war over here as well. But let's keep this. Now we see this super important wedge. Let's go ahead and do your sign. So Aries, Sun, Moon. I know my hand is up, but it's not really. It's simply up because I am literally waving my hand around. So you're going to get used to a little hand in the corner with me from now on. At least it matches my outfit. All right. Aries, Sun, Moon, and rising sign. first thing I want you to consider is that you are literally looking at a beautiful trine to your sign. I mean, no matter what you say, whole sign trine is happening from Mercury in your ninth house of God, truth, wisdom, and more, dharma, purpose, meaning in life, guides, mentors, teachers. There's nothing wrong with Mercury up here for you. All Aries appreciate him in the ninth house. He's here in the first 6 degrees, October 29th to November the 19th. If you have first 6 degree placements in Aries, sun, moon, or rising, or anything in those first degrees, it's receiving some energy from Mercury. And interestingly, will receive a direct pass, a retrograde pass, and a direct pass, meaning there will be 3 touch points of Mercury on the first 6 degrees of Aries, sun, moon, and rising, if that's one of your placements. So you're going to get a lot of energy here. For example, I have my natal Mercury at 2 degrees of Aries. So there's a lot of Mercury once, backwards and forwards. I'll be changing my mind, I think, a lot during that cycle. Now, as Mercury enters here on the 29th, he immediately hits up a shock and awe surprise to Uranus in your 3rd house. He is the ruler of Sagittarius. And so it's his domicile where Uranus is delivering the surprise. And the surprise could be something along the lines of an unexpected opportunity to go traveling to anywhere, domestically or abroad, an unexpected or surprising opportunity to find a spiritual teacher, to go to a spiritual event, to get a book publishing deal. That's got book publishing deal all over it. You're so shocked, you're surprised, but it's brought into a harmonious energy, courtesy of Pluto and that moon on the 29th, but it also applies to this Pluto hanging there with this kind of energy playing out all the way through from October 29th to November 19th. So you've got a good 3 weeks here. And so you could also find yourself in a position where you're suddenly getting excessive gains in your career wealth-wise. And that's because Mercury rules commerce and Pluto rules wealth. And there is an energetic combination of forces between October 29th and November 19th. It could mean that commercial enterprise connected to career gains is on the increase. This will be especially useful if you're using digital media, online and social media platforms these days, which is the 3rd house. Social influence and celebrity and more recognition can be the 11th house. Technically, this could look like going viral on something that you've put out there and having a little spot of celebrity or increased gains in your career. Again, equally likely to be an unexpected opportunity to teach, to learn, or to travel coming your way, and maybe some surprising developments with a sibling. And in either case, it can be in this chart really interesting, one older, one younger, or even 2 older than you. These siblings are in the mix with their surprises, and that comes into your awareness or your attention. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a card, and this card is going to be a card about the Voyager deck, and we're going to look at lowering Lori's hand. Lori, I have a question. No, I just waved my hand. Watch it go back up. Oh my God, it smells amazing. She must have kept this in the box with incense. Okay, so my friend passed away, Audrey Van Peteghem, and I lost 2 friends in the same time frame, within 2 months of each other, in the fall of 2020. No, it wasn't from COVID for either of them, and but it was sudden. They both died very suddenly, and both of them died of heart attacks. So it has put a perspective on my life to be grateful and attentive to the beauty of actually still breathing and being here. You know what I'm saying, guys? So the 4 of Wands is a card that represents happiness. And I can see that here because of that 11th house of good spirit represents one's wishes for fulfillment, right? What would you wish for if a fairy godmother came to you? And so often that house can be also very much a karmic reward energy. And so here we have the idea from the Voyager deck, the 4 of Wands, that something's coming into harmony. This is like the married couple under the wedding bough with the children beside them. There's something that wants to fulfill in a harmonious way. All the 4s are material resource-based energy, like the emperor. And so there's something about the material realm flowing in harmonious inspired, because wands are the spirit energy of our being, inspired fire energy. And I think this just feels like a very nice consolidation of success, especially from career and career gains, but also to understand there's a surprise. Something is coming at you in a way you weren't expecting it to. And so I would welcome that as well. I love that it matches my outfit. All righty, let's continue on. It just told me my default microphone changed to Yeti Nano. Well, it's always been Yeti Nano, unless this video went on and wasn't using my Yeti Nano, which would make no sense. Thank you for my bad software upgrades. All right, so let's go ahead and we're doing the next sign. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to move it manually here because I had put us in 0 Aries instead of whole sign houses. Once you go whole sign, you never go back. I'm teaching my sky reader. So many students, I've been flabbergasted by how their chart feels true and right and correct for them, right? When they look at it from the perspective of whole sign houses. And there's reasons we use whole sign houses to activate Time Lord tools that are not usable without whole sign houses. I don't think that changed. So let me try again to go back to whole sign houses. It didn't hold. Whole sign did not hold. Now it did. Okay, so let's go into Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, looking at this story of Uranus in the 2nd house and Mercury moving into your 8th house, October the 29th, looking at how that's going to unfold for you through to November 19th, okay, when we still have Mercury in the sign of Sag. We'll cover the retrograde as a separate video. And as he's sitting in this part of your sky early on, like we see a surprise on the financial front. Now, technically, the money of the 8th house where he sits is usually not a paycheck. It tends to be things like a commission check, a tax rebate, insurance payout, inheritance, spousal support, money that comes from an investment taking off, money that could come from, secondary sources, like you share the earnings, like royalty monies, right, with the book publishing company. Ad revenue from Google. I share that with Google on YouTube. So there's this like energy around that kind of money that is being opened up for you. And Mercury here also, and through to the 19th, can open up doors of psychic perception for you, especially when it comes to seeing below the surface of life's events and even being able to hear or talk to or intuit messages from beyond this realm, particularly the realm of the deceased, hearing and talking to, intuiting, dreaming about dead people. Don't be afraid of that. But it's because Mercury is also sextiling Pluto, the god of the underworld, and the moon is there in the early part of this entry too, which is your intuition. So I would encourage you to explore your natural intuition and maybe pay attention to your dreams, especially early on the 29th through to Halloween. I think some of you are getting strong messages from the dearly departed. Now, Mercury here also opposite Uranus is a surprise or change or shock regarding your financial well-being, but it should be relatively positive because it trines the god of wealth in the house of career. This could look like a raise, a promotion, a sign-on bonus, an extra special dispensation on the vocational front to do with the money, especially with Venus in the 6th house of work. So right now it looks like you're going to get some kind of perk. Now, if you're unemployed, of course, it could be the perk of getting employed. If you're employed, perks within the job. And if you're looking for a job, then it could bring that job to you in an unexpected, surprising left field way, but you're excited and happy to receive it. Catch, the catcher's mitt, get your catcher's mitt up for that. With Pluto in the 10th house, father figures, death, shock, and surprise. Yeah, well, I have to say it, right? So great grandpa Joe, doesn't wake up in the morning, right? And what would that mean for you? Possibly some inheritance money. So I'm just going to bring it to the fore. If I didn't mention it, I would be remiss. And the other thing I like to say, especially with Mars Sun in the 7th and the setting place, it could be a time where a father figure may be getting ready to leave the planet and pass on wealth. Do not be afraid of this. This is going to be true for only a very few of you, right? So just as something to mention. And finally, I will say one more thing. If you are naturally wanting to study or learn the occult arts, Mercury here can trigger a desire for you to begin that journey. So you might not complete it yet because he will retrograde out of here and, and then not come back into this part. He'll be gone from this part of your sky November 19th to December 12th. But December 12th through to January 2, some of you might get really engaged in your occult mysteries, tarot, numerology, astrology, psychic abilities. You might be really going down that rabbit hole. Okay. Yes, he's not in detriment. Yes, Mercury's out of his happy zone. If you're doing any accounting, any banking, any negotiating of finances with like lenders and stuff like that, you definitely want to get someone's eye on it who's not someone who knows what to look for, because Mercury is not looking at the details. He's got excitement. He's in Jupiter's sign. He's not looking closely at the details. All right, moving on. Now from the Voyager deck. From the Voyager deck for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, what tarot card do you have? You have a tower moment. Okay, we all know what a tower moment is, right? There's some surprise or shock or unexpected development. We're not surprised by that. We have Uranus and Mercury opposite each other, but the nature of the surprise is coming through the houses of finances, father figures because of the 10th house Pluto activation, matters to do with one's career and money. Is it a positive surprise? Yes, I do think so, because of the sextile and the trine to Pluto and the moon at the ingress. But this is where the tower moments happen, and that you'll feel that to be a true story. Okay, you really will. From October 29th until even November the 7th. And the reason I'm picking November 7th is that's when Uranus will ingress or move backwards into the next sign, Taurus. So particularly through to November 9th. So it's September 29th to November the 7th. Sorry, October 29th to November the 7th. It's warm in here for some reason. Expect some surprises, okay? That may be like a tower moment, like a bolt out of the blue. Now, towers should not scare you either, or also afraid of these cards. Oh no, it's a tarot tower card. Something that's not needed wants to be jettisoned really rapidly out of your reality, ka-ching. Think of it positively. You're working your ass off and you don't like your job. Ka-ching, you come into some money and you don't have to, however you do. Maybe you win the lottery for all I know. So you can rest easy. I don't want you to stress about this. I don't know if I have if you guys were seeing like a sidebar thing there where I was just trying to tell somebody not to come into the room because we don't have a class. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Now we're going to draw we just drew a card for you, the tower. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the next sign. And the next sign is Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Geminis, I can relate. My son has progressed here for the last 15 years. Do not worry about your progressed planets here. If you know how to progress your planets, great. But it just means that you have a secondary layer of meaning at all times, but your natal chart's primary. So one thing about this is that the Uranian energy is with us. We are acting, my Gemini son's progressed here, like innovative, eccentric, rebellious, rule breaking, coloring outside lines. And, our pineal gland, our third eye is wide open. Every Gemini listening to me, especially rising sign, but all of you Gemini folk, sun and moon, are going to increase your intuitive third eye abilities in the next 7 years. They're going to go over the top. But before that happens, you're looking at this time frame here. And it looks like Mercury on the 29th will open a doorway to the 7th house. Across the way, you are Uranus. Who's in the 7th house? Your audience, your market, your clients, contractual legal agreements. And also over here is your significant other. Oh, you don't have one. You might come upon one during this transit. Mercury will be back here. Don't forget, he's going to be back here in early December, like December 12th to about the 20th because of retrogradation. He comes back to Sag later on. But just understand that there's a lot of intense energy here for you. And one of the things I noticed as he enters into Mercury, your 7th house, is Venus is in the house of true love and romantic love, healing a chironic wound about love and friendship. And it's quite possible that there's an emblematic statement here to say that you could be healing your romantic and sexual love wounds while getting ready for a new relationship. If that was to occur, you must be getting in touch with somebody who combines these forces of Pluto up here, maybe the moon as well, which would indicate a foreigner, someone from another country, from your natal place of birth, someone involved in spiritual pursuits, or even say astrology can belong to the ninth house, maybe, fellow astrologer, or maybe something to do with a love that transforms your beliefs about reality and how you see the world. This is a very spiritual placement up here. This is a house that has to do with our spiritual ideology and beliefs. And there's a massive transformation going on for you over the next 18 years. And it's benefiting you. Pluto's trining you, see? So this is, if you have a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, obviously in the first 6 degrees of Gemini, this is hitting you particularly intensely between October 29th and November 19th. But all of us Geminis, I have a Gemini sun at 16 maybe right now, Gemini, can feel it. We can feel the energy here. Very transformative. Sudden, unexpected, surprising opportunities to travel abroad, unexpected, surprising with some specific friend. Mercury represents friendship, often companionship, with some kind of legal contract or commercial contract for a book. This is book publishing, or with some kind of opportunity legally or contractually to do with the teaching or learning or publishing. Those are themes of the ninth house. You're not going to be like, it always is a surprise when Uranus is involved, but you carry the energy. So you're not going to be one of those people rocking on the, rocking backwards with like, oh my God, oh my God. I don't think so. I think for you, you almost feel it coming with that third eye. You're almost like, I'm on it. I'm ready for this. I'm going to color outside my lines on how I relate to my audience, my marketplace and clients. I know you want to ask me why. So if you count 10 houses from the 10th house this way, it's 7th house is 10 from the 10 houses from the 10th. And it represents the public for your work in your career. So this is your fan club, your audience, your marketplace. Now, could be there's a shocking, discovery or information coming from some other person in your work, in your life, in your social groups or something, but it's going to benefit you. And it involves positive developments in your ninth house. And this is going to be true as again, October 29th to November 19th. You're really feeling this energy in particular, but Uranus backtracks into your 12th house on the 7th of November. So October 29th to November 6th, 7th, this is where this intense energy is playing most dramatically in your story. Now we'll go ahead and we will get a card for you, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right. Oh, these earrings, which are so beautiful, came from a Arizona gallery. I don't know which one. My partner James was traveling and picked it up for me, and they're just so beautiful. Indigenous. It was all Indigenous First Nations, or we call them Canada First Nations, but the Indigenous Native American traditional peoples of that land. The shop highlighted their actual creation, so this is not made in China. I am a fond lover with Venus and Taurus of jewelry. Okay, what do we get for our Geminis here? All right, we have 2 cards stuck together. I'm going to have to tune into which one that is. It's the Child of Wands, because Mercury, right, is the child energy, and wands are information, news, or communication. This is like a page, right? A page of wands. And so there's something coming through, some information, some news, some communication. It's high spirited, it's fiery, it's exciting, and it's coming from somewhere else, right? It's not coming, it's not going to be just it could be your email box. That's the mechanism, but it's coming from another person. And so it can benefit you greatly in the ninth house storylines that I outlined for you already. And let's see what happens. Let me know what news hits you, fellow Gemini energies, that surprises you October 29th to the 19th, but likely before the 7th. All right, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. There is this energy of Mercury moving into Sagittarius, October 29th. And he's there because of retrogradation. He makes it to 6 degrees. And then on the 19th comes back to Scorpio. This part of the sky for you is your work house. It's usually your daily routines and habits around the work. It's your health, especially the routines around your health. Often when we're seeing things happening in your 6th house, we also can see matters connected to animals that live with you. We call them pets, domestic animals. And because your animals are servants in the other era, right? The cat killed the mice, the dog, herded the sheep. So domestic pets are servants. This is a house of servitude. This is a house of where you are a servant. You're employed. You're working for some master, so to speak, job energy. And so what I would say right away, just keeping it simple, is that you might have some unexpected developments with an animal in your life. And Uranus is in the house of hospital. So unfortunately, maybe there's a surprisingly difficult circumstance with the health of an animal, or your work itself has a surprise for you. Something in the work itself is going to come in an unexpected way out of the blue and almost kind of blindside you a bit. 12th house is very blindsiding for you. You're not seeing it coming. Now, because Pluto's involved in the 8th house, right, and it's flowing, by the way, it's positive, there may be some unexpected wealth coming your way in an unearned income way, like a chunk of money. I don't know. Sometimes this is because we have debts to pay in the 6th house, right? And we have lenders in the 8th. And so maybe there's an unexpected debt relief coming your way where you're unexpectedly able to renegotiate the mortgage or pay off a credit card. Or if somebody owes you money, then money owed to you can come in ways that are unexpected and maybe much more exciting than you ever imagined. Health challenges can have an exquisite electric bolt of energy hitting them. Cancers, you should watch for your hips because it's a Sagittarius. Trouble with your hips and the joints in your hips can be an issue in this life. But I love this energy for you because it is also connected to wealth. Pluto is a wealth god in a chunky money house. And I think you could definitely have some excitement here for you. I don't think that you have to be stressed out. I think you could really enjoy this energy. But one other matter about the 6th house I will bring up. If you rent a property, like you're a landlord and you rent your property out to a tenant or you're a tenant, there may be some unexpected changes in your tenancy agreements, but I think they're positive. With Venus in your 4th house, it is going to be positive, unexpected developments around property rental opportunities or changes. Let's go ahead and draw a card for you now from the Voyager deck. All right. So Cancer, let's see what the Voyager deck is going to offer you today for guidance regarding the story, the Man of Worlds. This is like the King of Pentacles, the Man of Worlds. And what does the Man of Worlds or the King of Pentacles have? Money, 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 resources, and wealth. Obviously, there's something about you coming into some money. So it looks like an unexpected, surprising money story for you. I'll leave it at that. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have Uranus. We have Mercury moving into Sagittarius, October 29th to November 19th, back again December 12th to January 2. Watch the intro. All said and done, this is first 6 degrees is active. Are you a Leo, sun, moon, and rising in the first 6 degrees of Leo? Then this is highly activating for you. And Mercury here is going to be moving through a house that is very positive. It flows back to you in a trine. And it's really the house of joy, enjoyment, fertility, your children, creativity, the muse, entrepreneurial businesses, and romantic love and sexuality. So Mercury here is wandering through the 5th house for a little bit of time, up to 6 degrees, turning around November 9th. But you've got this vibe, October 29th to November 19th, when Mercury is in this part of your sky. He's also got a surprise up his sleeve, especially, right away, October 29th through to November 1st. Whoa, surprise. What is this surprise? Do you have any idea what it might be? Because it could be an unexpected love story. If you are a single Leo and you want a love story and you're looking for a love story, I wouldn't be afraid of this because Mercury is sextiling Pluto. And this would be a powerful, transformative love story. And it could even bring in somebody of significant power and wealth into your life. And, Uranus is in the house of friendships. So it could simply be a friend is going to introduce you to somebody, or in a social setting or group setting with friends, you might manage to bump into this person. This is really positive for you to try online dating if you want, because Venus is in the house of the social media landscape and she's a goddess of love. And sometimes this is like your Tinder and Hinge and all of those apps. And it could be the way you meet this person, but the surprise is in the actual way it shows up to, like, you never thought you would ever be interested in this type of person. right? Like, or you thought they were just your friend and then they said, I'm falling in love with you. And you're like, are you kidding me? I thought we were like, I thought you were gay or whatever. Like, say you're straight. You thought you were hanging with your gay pal, and now they tell you, no, I'm not gay. I'm totally into you. So, like, pay attention to the unexpected, the surprising for love for single Leos. Now, if you're in a relationship, that's fine. This could actually propel you guys to have some kind of outside the box romantic or sexual encounter, trying a little threesome, a polyamorous moment. But all said and done, it is expect the unexpected with Uranus. Pluto in your seventh house can bring those transformative, wealthy, powerful people into your realm, just like you could go, Donald Trump, 29 Leo, he got the Silicon Valley tech moguls all siding with him in the election season. So that happened to him. What kind of wealthy, powerful, transformative people are trying to enter your life? But with Mercury here, it could also be for romantic reasons. And if you're already in a relationship, it could just spice up your sex life, basically, in those 2 weeks. And finally, there's a possibility that one of your children has a surprise up their sleeve, and you'll be finding out about it, like, surprise, surprise, mom, dad, I'm pregnant. So, or surprise, I'm doing something you didn't expect. I'm getting married to the guy I've been dating for 2 weeks. Like, your kid lobs a surprise at you, for this is the house of children. Let's go ahead. Let's take a card from the Voyager deck. Don't forget, you've got a lot of Mercury in that fifth house. You don't have to get new love for singles October 29th to November 19th. He'll be back on December 12th to January 2. In fact, if you start a relationship now, you may change your mind, right? Because what starts off here, October 29th to November the 9th, when Mercury's direct in Sag, you could say, oh, this is exciting. I'm totally into this guy or girl. And then you change your mind, right? Because Mercury goes back to rethink it, reconsider it. The Child of Worlds. Okay, child cards are like pages in a normal tarot deck. So it's a Child of Worlds. And it's Pentacles, which has to do with money. I didn't think of that. And I am remiss as your astrologer. I missed something for you. The fifth house is good fortune, where Mercury sits, and it comes into alignment with winning money through gambling, like lotteries, casinos, speculation, risky investments, taking risks and winning. And Mercury is commercial, connected to tickets as well, ballots or tickets. Uranus is in the house of windfalls and pennies from heaven, and Pluto is the money god. So it wouldn't be too bad if you wanted October 29th, particularly October 29th to November 9th, to know your limit, play within it, and maybe buy yourself a lottery ticket. Seriously. Okay, but do not do something dumb. This is not like spend all of your savings. You only need one. I never get that with people. You only need one ticket to win. If you're destined to win, it's the one ticket. It's not dozens of tickets, waste money or whatever. No, if it's your destiny, you buy the one ticket and you wait for the destiny to find you. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm not encouraging gambling here, especially anyone who's got a problem and can't control themselves. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you are this energy, here we go. Mercury's your lord of your sign, as it is for Gemini folk, moving and his detriment in your fourth house on October 29th to November 19th. Now, this is an interesting time because this is where you live. And as he moves forward and then turns around on the 9th to go backward, you might kind of move forward and change your mind regarding a rental property. That's because of Pluto. So be a little bit careful here about your decisions regarding anything in the first, October 29th to November 9th. Don't make a snap decision around, I'm going to lease my property out, or I'm going to rent a new property or something like that, because you might have to rethink it and revision, and maybe it's not the best move right away. Keep that in mind. I mean, I can't tell you if that's true or not, just that he will go back over those same degrees. Now, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising in the first 6 degrees of Virgo are feeling that energy the most intensely October 29th to November 19th, but all Virgos are feeling it. Now, Mercury in the fourth house is talking to Uranus in the 10th house. This is the polarity between your public life and your private life, your work and career space versus your domestic space. So there may be some massive shocks and changes going on in the work and the home life itself. And Pluto is in the office. And so there's surprises in your work, home, and office narratives. You could also get an unexpected pet here, probably a Great Dane because of the size of Pluto. Well, Pluto's energy field is like big, it's tiny, tiny, but energy's big. And that would be a shocking, surprising, unexpected pet. And maybe the boss says, I can't keep my cat. The landlord's saying no pets. And you say, I'll take the kitten or the cat. I don't know. Things like that. Weird shit out of the blue can happen. The fourth house is also your childhood and family of origin matters. And it's particularly possible that something going on in your family that you're born into is surprising or shocking or unexpected during this window of time. But mostly it's your domicile, it's your home, it's your house, right? This is your story. If you are possibly thinking of making a shift or a maneuver in your work, changing a job or changing something in the career, with Jupiter, the Lord of great gains, Jupiter, the wealth god in the house of great gains from your career directly, this is a surprise that may come upon you for a change in the work or job status. It could even take you outside of the career that you're in or radically change the way you approach the work you're doing. And with Uranus going to be in Gemini, your 10th house until 7 more years starting next year, you're definitely going to be looking at some big shifts in your career. It's like excitement and radical changes, especially if you got sucked into something and you say, this is my job, this is all I am, this is what I do, then you're going to redefine yourself. Pretty exciting energy coming for you through the next 7 years starting next April. All right. So any other things I'd flag for you? Venus is protecting you in your second house, which is wonderful. Venus is giving you financial protection, and so is Jupiter. So hang your hat on their benefic energies. And conversations in your home may have startling, unexpected developments. But again, the sixth house is definitely related to your work. The only other thing I can say, because health matters belong to the sixth house, is it possible you could come into an unexpected health situation, but then it all is going to work out? Like you find that there's like a water leakage in the home and it's creating a patch of mold and you want to remedy it. And thank God you discovered there's mold there. I mean, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting, possibly here for you guys. All right. Now we're going to draw a card from the Voyager deck for you. And it's the Woman of Wands. That's like the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands. Why does it keep telling me my microphone is defaulting? It shouldn't be defaulting. This is my main microphone. Okay. Seriously, after you guys, I'm going to have to check my setting. And the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands. She's resourceful. She's entrepreneurial. She's high-spirited. It's not gender. I don't care, or whatever you call it, sex. It's not whether you're a man or a woman genetically. It's about a spirit of a certain energy. You do have a female energy with the moon in the workhouse, and it could simply be like a sort of an allocation of beneficent energy towards the work you're doing. And this would also apply as well to rental property agreements. And feeling that you've got this kind of high-spirited, industrious, business-oriented feminine energy supporting you at this time. Could be a real woman as well, offering you a new job or a raise or a promotion with those sixth house placements. I'm going to just double check my mic and I'll be right back. Okay, Mercury is a trickster and I'm talking about him, but my mic is plugged in and it should be working, but I'm not kidding you. It's like the trickster is like, hey, we're going to keep giving you a flashing warning about your microphone. Like we're defaulting to your Yeti Nano. Well, you shouldn't be defaulting it. It is the default. All right. Oh my God. I've got like a knot in my hair. Hang in there, guys. I got to fix it. It's driving me nuts. Okay. Now, moving on to the next story. We're moving into the next sign. I used to care when people criticized me for twisting my hair, talking about being autistic. It's called stimming. All right. So we have Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign, October 29th to November 19th. The first testing, the first 6 degrees of Sag is Mercury in your third house. This is, of course, most intense for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising in the first 6 degrees of Libra. Right? You're feeling it. But nonetheless, we all get that vibe that, without the degree-based intensity. All you Libras are thinking, wow, Mercury's really busy in my third house. What's he doing there? Is he writing, communicating, selling and marketing, teaching or learning? Is he busy traveling? He loves to travel. He's a patron protector of travelers. Are you seeking guidance or providing guidance as a diviner, scryer, or oracle? That's very third house as well. Now, he's activating here a shocking surprise in the beginning, October 29th to about November 1st. You feel this energy of, whoa, didn't see that coming. Like, wow, that's a surprise, a surprising book publishing deal, a surprising travel opportunity, a surprising legal outcome in a court case. But it also flows to Pluto in the house of entrepreneurship, the muse, wealth that's generated from creative and artistic and entrepreneurial endeavors. And this could indicate a positive development here as well. Suddenly you realize, hey, I've got, something I've got this entrepreneurial gig or this international success that's pending, or this book publishing opportunity that's coming my way with an agent. Mercury represents agent energy. Mercury down here can also be about a sibling one younger. Uranus is in a sibling two older, surprises with those siblings. There's also the possibility of a sibling two younger getting in the mix, your fifth house. So lots of siblings can be in the narrative. Ultimately, Pluto in your fifth house is going to transform your life until 2044. You're going to be having transformation, regeneration, and renewal through your children, romantic love, and creative and artistic expression. And so we'll see some kind of interesting little jolt in that area as well. If you're single and you wanted to find a relationship, you might bump into someone while you're traveling. You happen to be very attractive right now with Libra having that Venus transit going through your sky. And this opens up a feeling of you are so beautiful, friendly, and lovable. Everybody's into you. You're charming as well. And if you were trying your best to win money, well, Pluto's wealth and a good fortune house of gambling and speculation. Mercury is your local ticket vendor. Venus is saying, I'm making you lucky. So yes, you're one of the signs that may want to perhaps October 29th, particularly to November 9th, when Mercury is direct, purchase a local lottery ticket. Let's go ahead and see what we get for your sign. And I'm going to stop the share and pull a card from the Voyager deck. Let's get that on the roll here. This is tarot cards, not an oracle deck. The card I have for you, the Six of Crystals. It's interesting. That's like the Six of Swords. You'll see the people in the boat, moving onward, packing their goods. Sometimes it literally means a move or a moving on energy, right? Either you're moving or moving on in some area of your life, or traveling. And Mercury and Uranus are both in travel houses, domestic and international. And you could travel and meet love, travel with a love, travel to meet a child, travel for children. That's just a very practical way it could work out. The surprise element is the unexpected quality of that travel. You weren't necessarily planning on it, or the unexpected love that could come for taking a journey in your boat to go somewhere. Now we're going to go ahead and take a gander at Scorpios. Well, Scorpio, you're the one that gets AI Atlas. So AI, I always say AI, like I'm in AI land. 3i Atlas, AI Atlas, 3i Atlas, 3i Atlas in your sign at 22 Scorpio. Is your sun, moon, or rising at 22 Scorpio? Because Atlas, 3i Atlas and the sun are like conjunct in essence, beside each other, close to each other on October 29th. So you Scorpios at that degree, this is very interesting for you. Now, one thing I want to mention here is that you are going to notice that Mercury opens a door into your house of earnings, money, resources, and creates a surprise with chunky money, unearned income, inheritances, etc. What it is, I can't tell you, but you don't necessarily expect it. Mercury rules where Uranus is. And so he's going to maybe say to Uranus, what kind of surprise are you going to bring that this person can possess more money in their wallet? This starts off, of course, with Mercury only getting to 6 degrees of your second house and retrograding on the 9th, and then finally pulling out of Sag on the 19th. So it's going to come back at you again later on, but not with Uranus's help. Uranus is moving back into Taurus. So it's complicated that way. But in the beginning, October 29th to November 19th, what is the surprise that you're not seeing coming to do with land, property, real estate, banks, mortgages and loans, finances, etc.? Quite possibly with Pluto here in the fourth house, there's legacy wealth that could come to you. and or unexpected changes with your home. Pluto is with the moon, which represents one's nest and home. And you might be unexpectedly coming into some money with Jupiter in the ninth house. So you may come into money from your family of origin. Is a possibility that news of that that money coming to you, right, is in the mix. It's in the milieu of your life, October 29th to November 19th, especially before October the 9th, November the 9th, I should say. It's amazing that my brain works at all, in menopause, and let alone getting these dates right for you guys off the fly. I would say that Mercury in your second house of speech and earnings and vocation, right? Those are the meanings of that house. Could bring you an unexpected financial bonus connected to your career or your work. But more importantly, also anything that you have to say or speak could lead to an unexpected financial upswing. Like if, say, you're a professional speaker or a songwriter or something. Pluto in the fourth house is going to transform where you live over the next 18 years. And, some of you may experience, of course, the passing of your family of origin family, because that's what Pluto can do down here. And that's kind of just a rite of passage that people pass away eventually. And Pluto down here can also be very much about a powerful or wealthy home that you will inhabit by 2044, like you're going to be rich at home, home. But because Pluto and Uranus are in kind of investing things, some of you might have invested in stock market storylines, and something could pop for you in an unexpected way. So you might want to take some money off the table, and an unexpected surprise is an investment opportunity, something you've invested in, especially precious metals, could go into a sudden extreme uplift. October 29th to November the 19th. I'm not a financial advisor, though, so please don't listen to astrology for that. This is for entertainment purposes only. Let's draw a card for Scorpio from the Voyager deck and see what we get. I am recording, thank goodness, because I paused it. Let's see what we get for you guys. I'm off today to go see a friend later today at a restaurant called España. It's a tapas from Spain. It's so delicious. And this is my girlfriend's dress, and she gave it to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this color. So I'm going to wear it to see her tonight. Hierophant. Okay, this is like the high priest or the Pope. Okay, this is like the Pope. This is the teacher. This is also your inner teacher, but also it's a 5 energy. All 5s bring change. All 5s bring unexpected directions of change sometimes as well, right? Unpredictable energy. So the Hierophant can also represent institutional energy. Jupiter is in your 9th house with judges in courts right now and legal matters. So again, some of you could come into money, and there's an overlording vibe here around having to sort the legalese out around financial gain from an inheritance of some sort. Possibly as well, the Hierophant is reminding you to tune into your inner knowing and your inner teacher, which is a part of the message of this card, and to choose wisely. For Jupiter, the all-knowing guru in your 9th house of God, is reminding you have this capability as he trines or flows to your Scorpio sky. And so no matter what this kind of perturbation in the financial realm is for you, it does look like it wells you up. And it may not be a one and done. Mercury's retrograde, right? So yeah, October 29th to November 19th, but then he's back in the same Sag zone, December 12th to January 2. So it's coming in 3 different parts, so to speak. Or 2, depends on the degree of your Scorpio ascendant. Okay. Doesn't really that much because, your 8th house and 2nd house are in inversion. So I want to get to details there. It's technical, but all right. What? How come my thingy is not in alignment like it was? I guess I moved it out of the way. All right. We're moving to Sagittarius. Hey, Sag, you have a story here where you're looking at you in the thick of it. Mercury in your sign. He was here last fall as well. In the elemental fire year 2024, he was kind of all in for Sagittarius. This time he splits his time between Scorpio and Sag. He's going to tiptoe in there on October the 29th at 0 degrees of Sag. And immediately he will come into an opposition to Uranus. I guess I can go back a day so you have the right day. And right away, there's a jolt in your long-term committed love and marriage story. Either you or your partner are having information exchanges that surprise you. Is it bad or is it good? I don't know. It's just surprising. Also, a surprise regarding a sibling older than you. How much older? 3 above you in birth order, three siblings above you, and a surprise, or a surprise or shock regarding a client, a market audience place person, someone in your sphere of business influence, and a shocking surprise. Maybe you could go viral. Pluto is in the 3rd house of social media landscape and platforms. He's wealth. Moon is popular with the people. So this would be, if you're a social media type person, Sag, then especially if you are out there trying to make a business out of it, then you could have some exceedingly surprising something take off and get a lot of public appeal and attraction. Public appeal, attraction, and traction. Okay. All of those things can happen here, October 29th, especially to November 9th. But Mercury will retrograde on November 9th and through to the 19th, be backtracking. So I also want you to be really clear that you're going to want to change your mind. Mercury will have you reconsider something. You're going to go, oh my God, October 29th to November 9th. This is it. I'm going for it. And then you're going to go backtracking and think about it some more. You still might go for it, but you're going to revise, revision, and rethink it. And possibly, is especially for the first 6 degrees of Sag, you guys, sun, moon, and rising, if a new relationship shows up, which it can, completely unconventional, healing your chironic wounds around sex and love, Chiron in your 5th house, Venus in the house of friends. But also, this is a different beast. You know, it's Pluto's involved, Pluto sextile. You could meet a very transformative, regenerative, intense, rebirthing relationship that changes so much in your life if you're single. But connecting to the 3rd house, you might meet this person in an educational setting, a travel setting, or even actually in the local environment, the daily places you inhabit in your world, in your neighborhood, in your city. If you're already in a relationship, though, there's some major shifts here, major intensities here. Something is going on. You probably didn't expect it. You weren't looking at that. You know, you didn't expect it because Uranus is expect the unexpected. Possibly your partner could say, I'm moving to another city. I'm traveling. I'm going to move into my own home. These are the kinds of things, if you're in a relationship, that could be announced, or you're going to say that to your partner. Nobody was planning it. It just is happening, right? It's just happening. You know, Mercury doesn't see the details in Sag. He's a little bit blinded by the Jupiterian vastness. So make sure that if any decisions you're making regarding relationship, neighborhood, travel, local environment, make sure you think about it, get some advice from somebody with a keener eye so that you don't make decisions with your ideas in mind without the details. So also just a little warning there about that kind of narrative. Let's go ahead and draw a card for you from the Voyager deck. What do we have for our Sages here? We have the 7 of Cups. Oh, I love that card. Well, some people don't, but as a manifester, I do. So this person's looking at these cups, and the cups have like a snake coming out of it and something else coming out of it. And it's representing our intuitive nature. Cups are our intuitive nature, emotional intuitive nature, but also the visionary part of our life where we can, you know, see these options in front of us and sort of wish fulfill and think about which one do we want to choose? Which is the cup that we want for us? And, you know, Mercury does make decisions for us sometimes because he's very mental. He's like Mars is a decider, but Mercury is the ideas upon which we must ponder or think before we decide. And so we change our mind when Mercury retrogrades. So, you know, Mercury is looking at something. He's wanting to have you ponder something, an idea about your relationship, about your business partnerships, about your social media, online neighbors and neighborhood situations, or siblings, as I mentioned. And so look for that kind of time that you might use this for, because he will retrograde, bless his soul, into your 12th house on November 19th and be there till December 12th. And that's a really good time for using your inner imagination and your visualizations with Mercury to really ponder your ideas. Make sure you are steeped in kind of choosing the right cup of those 7 cups that you can choose from. 7s are connected to the Chariot card, which is an interesting card because the driver has 2 sphinxes going in different directions. And it's black and it's white. And the driver is in the middle. And that's the middle way. And that's your soul. That's the part of you, or your highest, you know, consciousness beyond your personality, that is able to move a vehicle forward despite the horses or the chariot, you know, sphinxes going in different directions. So find the inner stillness of the middle way, because all sevens invite us to the high level experience of the chariot. Chariot is also travel. And this activates your travel axis as well, as I said earlier. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next sign. I thought I was sharing. Hang on. Will be sharing. I will be sharing. It's acting weird again. You're going to watch a messy desktop again. All right, moving into Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Am I recording? I am recording. All right, Capricorns. You are having this Mercury ingress. Oh, I'm moving by day. Day by day. No. We're moving by hour. And here we have Capricorns. Okay, so resourceful and resilient, steadfast and stoic, Capricorn. What happens here is that Mercury moves into your 12th house of moksha, spiritual enlightenment, the full Monty. Why do I call it the full Monty? Because it's kind of like that. It's like Buddhahood, right? So you could have this opportunity with a shocking, surprising breakthrough in your enlightenment story. It also can allow for October 29th to about November 9th, a breakthrough in your work and in your self-sabotage and self-undoing from addictions and bad habits. And anything like that can be very exhilarating and shocking and breakthrough. Also, Uranus is in the house of your health, and Mercury's in the house of self-undoing. That's why I said addictions can be completely, undone to undo your addictions. This is really not unusual here. This could be like a breakthrough where illumination strikes, and in one swoop, you undo the weed, the vape, the wine, whatever your problem is. And it's particularly true because Pluto and Moon are in your second house of what you ingest through your nose and mouth. So this is good for breakthroughs in that way. Now, because you have Pluto for wealth in your second house, and he's going to try to wealth you up over the next 18 years, and he's testing the waters here, there is a possibility that you could come into some wealth. The Moon is with Pluto ruled by Jupiter. That wealth could also come from another person in your life and be directed your way, including a sibling 3 older. But you may have a jolt of unexpected pocketbook increase coming in the first 9 days of November. Also, the energy here, or, October 29th to November 9th, also the energy of having Uranus in the 6th house is something to do with maybe a place where you have a debt. And you've been paying off a debt. But sometimes I see that it works both ways. If somebody owes you money, money comes back. Uranus is the unexpected return of money that was owed to you, or something that was owed to you. That's how I would code that. And you take it into the pocketbook, which increases your wealth, basically. You could find that Uranus here could activate a relationship, because this is the house of karmic debts and also dating. But if you do have a dating opportunity that suddenly shocks you or surprises you, it's going to come from a distant shore or far off land. It won't be somebody just down the street. That's because of Mercury in your 12th. Both Mercury and Uranus are in a aversion to your ascendant. And so this definitely hits you out of the blue. You might be surprised. You might be blindsided, but I don't think it's a negative blindside. I think it's positive. So again, let me know how it goes. And it certainly can fortify and strengthen your financial well-being with Pluto and the Moon in engagement with this storyline as well. And that's what I've got for you. I would say too, the 6th house is your pets. And so there could be unexpected, surprising developments if you have a pet with one of your animals here. And it might be an expenditure as well. Like, I didn't know that, this fixing my cat's broken paw was going to cost me this much money. I mean, that could be one way this might look, because the 12th house are often expenditures, expenses, and there's animals in the 6th house that you own, and there's money in the pocketbook in the second. That's the downside here. Unexpected expenditure on a pet, for example. But ultimately, I'm not too stressed out. I do think Mercury in the house of distant shores, ruler of your 9th house. However, if you're in a dating environment, could be talking about dating someone from another country, and so surprises are coming through that storyline at this point. Dating is the 6th house, and commitment is the 7th. So we always have to precede commitment by dating. And so we often see people dating when there's activations of the 6th house. Let's go ahead and let's do a card for you from this. Now I've got my knee up. Yes, it's a dress. Okay, so I'll probably put some leggings on it later on. The Four of Worlds. Oh, the Four of Pentacles is the equivalent in the normal tarot deck. That's a financial resourcefulness card. Sometimes the guy's clutching his pearls, hoping to hold on to what money he has with a scarcity mindset, but it's also a building of wealth energy. And it's about material stability and material stability and solidity in your life. And so, yes, well, Pluto is in your resources pocketbook and money house. That makes a lot of sense to me, that something about this can bring you into some financial success. And if you want a new job because you're unemployed, you got some support from Venus in your 10th house Capricorn, this could bring you money through a job opportunity or job opening as well. I'm one of you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hi guys. We have Pluto in our sign. Are we feeling okay? Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing. I've noticed that I've been very existential since he entered here. He doesn't cross my ascendant for like another 13 years, but I feel him, or maybe 10. I feel him as an existential pull to deep meaning and trying to really say, if I died tomorrow, I talk more lately about what could be on my tombstone, right? And what I don't want there, or my epithet, because I feel my mortality as he enters here, right? Maybe some of you can relate as Aquarius rising in particular, because that's our body. So as we also own this Pluto power, which can have us be uncompromising in what authentic power means for us, not worldly success alone. As Pluto is here, we're going to notice that Mercury is going to activate him on the 29th of October through to about November 9th, as Mercury moves into direct motion in the house of great gains and the house of good spirit. This is like karmic rewards, pennies from heaven house. Uranus is in the house of good fortune and lottery wins, gaming, casinos. Certainly, there is a potential for an unexpected financial prosperity gain that feels like a windfall. Money coming from a sibling, one older and two younger, and an unexpected financial windfall. One of your children having unexpected news, especially where Uranus is sitting, surprises for your children, or a adult child is sharing a surprise in their good fortune and telling you about it, particularly as it pertains to their own career gains. Unexpected developments in romantic love. Uranus is here. It's going to redefine what love, and you'll have a freer, more eccentric view of sex and romantic love starting next April at 7 years, because Uranus is going to be in your 5th house. You thought you'd never be polyamorous, you will. You thought you'd never be with the same sex, you'll try it out. It's going to open up a lot of doors of sexual adventure, freedom, experimentation for a lot of Aquarians. Now, with Uranus moving through your 5th house and Mercury across the way early on, October 29th to the 9th, there may be a shocking, unexpected new romantic story percolating for you. And this comes as well with Pluto moon. You are like holding this energy really strongly of being like, willing to be powerfully engaged with your reality. And the moon is the ruler of the dating house, right? Jupiter's there. Opportunities for dating all the way through next July for all of you Aquariuses. And Venus in the house of romantic, house of far off lands and shores, spiritual community, etc. If you're single and you're looking for a relationship, it's likely from somebody who was born in another country, lives in another country, speaks a different language, perhaps has a different spiritual philosophy, that kind of thing. Now, one more thing about the 5th house, other than lottery wins and stuff like that, is your entrepreneurial and creative artistic instincts. And there's a nice little surprise, a little jolt. And Mercury's in the house of social influence. Maybe something can go viral. Maybe you'll have a new stature. Maybe you'll be invited to do something in somebody else's podcast, right? That would be like, I'll make me a story for me. I love Next Level Soul podcast. I should probably send the guy a message and say, hey, I'd love to come on your channel one time, right? That's an example. But sometimes they come out of the blue and they approach me, which is also exciting. So you might find an unexpected opportunity to mic up. That's it. Mic up in front of a new audience, connected to creative and entrepreneurial and digital stories. All right. That's a few things I got for you. Let's go ahead. Don't forget, Mercury is going to go forward to 6 degrees. This impacts 0 to 6 degree, by the way. Aquarius is the most, but all of us feel it. And then he's going to backtrack. And by the 19th, he goes back into your 10th house, but he comes back to your 11th house of gains and all that shit, good spirit, on December 12th through to January the 2nd. So you're not done with him yet. Not done with him yet. From the Voyager deck, let's get a card for you and see what we have. The Child of Worlds. I'm getting a lot of the Child because Mercury is the messenger, and that's like the page in the tarot, and Child is page. So the page, or the Child of Wands. So information or news coming across your reality that's going to be positive. Why is it positive? Because it's in the positive, good spirit and good fortune houses. And it's going to help you Pluto up, right? I know we're going to call Pluto up, be more powerful, more wealthy, more transformed. You got to like it. I don't dislike it because the houses are positive. And this unexpected surprise is good news for you. Let me know in the comments later on if you want to come back and let me know, and I'd love to hear, or just email me. All my information to get in touch with me is in the about section of my channel above. You can email me on my get in touch at Lunatic Astrology. I check it about once a week. Finally, moving into the next sign. The next and last and never least, best and always best, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Years ago, Pisces told me they hate it when we did that last and always, never least, or whatever. So I always say best and always best. Yeah, so we're skipping Pisces. We're not really. Sorry about that, Capricorn. Last week or whatever, I forgot to draw a card for Cappies, and people were telling me all about it. So this is your Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising storyline. Mercury is in your 10th house, entering here, not on November 2nd. Goodness gracious, I went by days. Just trust me, I'm not going to move it. He's up here on October 29th at 0 degrees of Sag, and he's going to be opposite Uranus in the 4th house. Private life versus home life, public life versus domestic life. Shocks and surprises, unexpected developments, unexpected turnarounds. Is it good or bad? It can be very good if you are making income from digital income, borderless revenue, where Pluto sits in the 12th house, and Uranus just means the internet. So you might have some really nice flares of financial goodness. Pluto brings you wealth from distant shores and foreign lands, people there, companies there, revenue generated beyond your personal country's borders, like a spice trade, right? Like a sailing ship going to trade across the shores to another far offshore. And therefore, you are likely to see, if you're in the online world, a nice surge of financial goodness for you sometime close to that, October 29th timeframe. Also, you might want to take a look here at unexpected career developments. Maybe also reputation developments like this. Mercury rules your house of marriage. Unexpectedly, you're going to move into a new home with your partner. Unexpectedly, you get a wedding proposal. Unexpectedly, there's going to be a change of domicile connected to relationship. Those are the kinds of things I see. Is it good or is it bad? Well, it's what it is, right? It is what it is. You can be a bit blindsided by Pluto too. Transformative energy, trining Uranus, or maybe an unexpected change of homecoming for you, like homecoming. Unexpected change coming regarding domicile, home, and where you live. Unexpected work and career opportunities that would require a change of residence or a change of home. This is a longer story than like October 29th to November 19th. It's a longer story because, December 12th to January 2nd, Mercury goes back into your 10th house. So nothing is a straight line yet. Mercury retrogrades on November 9th. It's one step forward, a few steps back, and finally a few steps forward. Things are in motion here. Mercury rules the house of your spouse, right? I mentioned that. And so there also may be some unexpected opportunities for your spouse in their career that nobody saw coming, right? Unexpectedly. I do want to say that you have a great Jupiter placement for lottery wins right now. Jupiter will be here until next July. So just keep that in mind. It's a possibility, not a probability, but I wouldn't ignore that as well, but it's a side story to everything else that's going on. So it's not the main story of Mercury in your 10th house at all, but Jupiter does direct Mercury. He's in Jupiter's house. So it could be a surprising shock as you stand in front of the world with your big check and they take a picture of you, like Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. And, you take your bows because you won the lottery, because that could happen under this story, because the public eye, you're in the news in the public eye for some successful financial win. So just that could be 1 in a million, perhaps, of you, Pisces, but it is within the bounds of possibility. And your card is the Queen of Cups, the Woman of Cups. Well, first of all, you are cupsy, intuitive, emotional, and sensitive energies, right? Look at that beautiful card. So that is your archetype, male or female, it does not matter. The Queen of Cups is basically opening up something here for you to consider. You might find that this can really open up your pineal gland from your family of origin. If you have a family of origin and you think that a bunch of third eye psychics in your family, this could blow that psychic ability wide open with Uranus in your fourth and Pluto in your 12th. It could also blow open past life abilities to do with intuition and psychic powers. So keep that in mind. Your exaltation planet Venus is currently traveling your 8th house of psychic ability. So any of you Pisces who are half-assed about your own psychic powers, like you're like, I'm sort of intuitive, but I don't know it. This Queen of Cups is looking into like the scrying cup, right? Use that intuition, but I think you could have a blowout, a nice opening, or if you already use that intuition, financial gain from using that intuition as well. Especially if you're working with foreign people, distant countries, and all of that. All right, so I have an outro. I'm going to talk about Atlas. Okay, so we're done with Pisces. We're on the Atlas story. I'm listening to a lot of people talk about Atlas. Forget about the science. The science is just clearly nobody knows for sure what it is. Suspicious that NASA or China haven't released any recent photos from the pass by Mars where cameras were in orbit to capture pictures of between rovers on the planet kind of thing. There was a really grainy picture. It didn't really work out from a Mars rover or orbital cameras around Mars. The pictures have not been released to the public. That makes no sense. So that's number one. But this is happening at 22 degrees of Scorpio, right? And what is Scorpio about? Scorpio is about stealth, secrecy, 3-letter agencies, whistleblowers when it happens, things that are hidden and things that are meant to be hidden. People are covering them up. And that doesn't surprise me that 22 Scorpio is where we're going to have his perihelion, where three-eye Atlas, I always want to say AI, three-eye Atlas is going to be closest to the sun. And so I'm just going to say a few things about what my feeling is that. And I'm also not of the mind that I do see a lot of this sometimes in the more woo astrology that is a part of our collective ascension, that we're going to find a new pattern coming into humanity because of it. Well, it is an object outside of our solar system and it is mysterious and we don't know what it is. And while some of that can be true as well, that's not what I'm focused on when I think about this particular story. I think the real story isn't about ascension or our DNA being upgraded or humanity awakening because of what could basically be a natural probe of some kind probing our solar system. It came in at a 5-degree angle to the ecliptic, meaning it is able to pass by Jupiter later next year and Mars earlier, just before now, is able to like inspect our planet. So for it to have that actual declination, that angles it came in, means it almost seems planned. I think the real reveal is the real reveal that this is not a natural object, but we may not ever know what it is. And the reason I say that, and eventually will be whistleblown or leaked out, is because when this is occurring, when the Atlas probe, sorry, can I say it properly, is moving through our story, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to grab a chart. I'm going to show you something. Okay, give me a minute. I'm grabbing a minor body, and I'm going to show you what I'm seeing. Give me a minute. And you guys are going to love this if you're into aliens. All right. And there's I could do 1,000 different asteroids to connect to this story, but this is the one I want to share with you. Okay. This is interesting to me. I was thinking recently, some of the sort of like more Palm Gregory style stuff, where everything's pontificated upon as if it's all about some ascension wave. And I used to be that way too. But it's also kind of like a movie, right? Like all these people saying, oh, it's good for the world. It's going to bring us together. And, where it's like, Jesus is back and he's just in a spaceship instead of a horse. But then it turns out to be an alien invasion, right? Like it's kind of that thing. I'm a little circumspect about how I want to make everything rosy, but here's what I wanted to show you. This is Urania. Okay. Urania is an asteroid to do with outer space. It's astronomy and astrology, the muse of the muse of astronomy in Greek mythology, and also the muse of astrology and astronomy. So astronomy is the heavens, and astrology is the symbolic meaning of the heavens. Now, this particular asteroid, Urania, is known to be connected to UFO events. For example, when Urania moves through Sagittarius once every 7 years for about 2 to 3 months, there's a spate of disclosures in the United States around UFOs, around Tic Tac and the Tic Tac thing that was disclosed, or whistleblowers, or congressional testimony. And the last time Urania moved through Sagittarius was last fall during the election, like October, November, December, and that was when all those objects were seen: plasma balls, supposed drones off the coast. Some of it might have been drones, some of it wasn't. They were definitely plasma balls, and no one understood what they were. They were moving in ways that drones don't move. They were moving the way plasma balls move. So basically, we see Urania by proof every 7 years through the United States. First house, Sagittarius, that US goes into major whistleblower exposures around aliens, UFOs, technology from aliens, government, Raytheon using alien tech, all that stuff comes out every time. That was here. Urania was up here, right? In Sag, the ascendant of the United States. Let's move the chart because I want to show you something else. I'm going to pretend we're in a US chart, right? We're going to put Sag on the ascendant. US is 12 degrees of Sag. This is meaning that Urania is sitting in the sign of this media. This is media, social media, digital media, announcements by the government, the press briefings, media, the third house. So Pluto is revelation of that which is hidden from view. And it's also like cloaking. And is it decloaking or cloaking? That's the question. Now, AI Atlas itself will be closest to the sun and invisible to the earth. So we won't see AI Atlas, okay? Out of sight, too close, in the glare of the sun. He will come outside the other side of the sun later on, and then later in November, we can see what the trajectory is. If the trajectory of AI Atlas has moved from what its starting trajectory was in any significant way, it's not a natural object, right? But we can't put it on the ephemeris because we have to see it come out the other side of the sun from our vantage point on Earth. Now, this is October 29th. This is the day that its AI Atlas is at 22 degrees right here. Hope this is entertaining. 22 degrees right here. You'll notice that Ceto, the goddess of the monsters of the sea, and Mars here. Could be submarine action, by the way. Maybe there's going to be an alien intervention. I don't know. But nonetheless, Mars and Ceto are sitting here. And Atlas is at 22 on the day that it's approaching the sun, closest to the sun. And there's the sun, right? So, and that's how close it gets. It gets this many degrees away from the sun approximately. And when this is occurring, you'll notice that Urania and the moon and Pluto are all together. Moon is the people, the public. This is the house of the media. This is all, power, all disclosures, maybe whistleblowing, who knows? And there's Uranus for the shocking, surprising thing that might be going on in the news. Mercury is the news, right? And I think that this is going to tell us something. I think even though it's connected to the sun and we can't see it, it could be such things as delayed information about the original photos from the orbiter camera around Mars. There's at least 2 of them up there. NASA has those photos. I think China has one too. And we're going to get the information out at last. Maybe it'll finally be disclosed. The second thing is something unusual could happen as this approaches the sun, even though we can't see it. And it may impact something in our collective sphere as well. I don't know what it is. But because we have this good old, disclosure UFO story, this is China. China is an Aquarius rising. It's got its moon here, by the way, and China is experiencing a Pluto transit. And so there may be some stories. Yes, okay, it's collectively submarines from China and ships have gone to, surround Taiwan. That could be the case. But if it's not that, would China reveal photos or information that the NASA and the United States does not wish to disclose? Will China whistleblow? Will Chinese scientists whistleblow? What is this Urania doing here? All I know is it's always associated with UFO disclosures when it moves to the United States ascendant, Sagittarius. Mercury is in Sag, which does belong to the United States. So maybe it is someone from the United States, Mercury disclosing information. To be considered, It's exciting. We live in interesting times. What do you guys think this thing is? I do not think it is here as some kind of like DNA reroute, or it's the ascension wave, or it's an archangel in a ball of dust and exuding nickel. You know, I think it's actually an object, but I don't think it's a comet. And I'm not too sure. I'm about 70% sure it's not a natural object. So just for fun, we'll draw a card. Yes, we will, from the Voyager deck for AI 3i Atlas. If I say AI Atlas one more time, maybe it is AI. Why do I keep saying AI? The Wheel of Fortune. Well, the Wheel of Fortune is destined fated events that turn our wheel of fortune, turn our destiny. I'm trying to see what God is. There's a butterfly. There's an airplane looking like it's going down, like downed airplane. There's a hand. These are collages, guys. There's a black cross-legged mystical figure. Well, this is a major arcana card, right? So clarify. Why is it a part of the wheel of destiny for the collective? What does it open up for us? What's it about? Okay, I'm gonna have to eat crow. This is the Lovers. One thing about it, the Lovers card is a strong connection here to healing, to finding one's true calling and path, and to Archangel Raphael. And so I said, oh, it's not about archangels and mystical shit. Well, I will take that back. There's a higher level energy playing out here. And then the other card that I drew is the Fool. Well, they're all major arcana. Go figure. Spirit playing in matter. Holy Fool. The Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a big deal. It wouldn't be that big a deal if it went swooping by and we never heard anything about it. Clearly, it's making a statement. It's making an impact in the collective. So I'm going to dream incubate. Do you guys know how to dream incubate? You just basically ask yourself a question before bed. And I ask it every night until you get an answer. I usually don't go longer than 3 nights. If I don't get a dream about my question, then I don't, after 3 nights, I say, I'm not supposed to know. And why don't we all do this together? If you're listening to the outro, you're a regular then. Why don't we all decide we're going to incubate this? I'm going to spend 3 nights asking before bed that I have a dream to show me what AI Atlas is for, like why it's coming through our solar system, what it's about, what it might lead to. Show me a sign, and I'll let you know what I get on the next video I record. I'm recording Saturday, October the 18th. I'm going to tell my Patreon community to do a dream thing too and put a post up for them. And let's see if we can get a psychic intuitive dream hit before October 29th. And on my Patreon community, I'm going to put a post up saying we're going to do an experiment. Let's all start dreaming into this question. Give yourself 3 days. Post your answers below. I'll be recording a video. This is Saturday, October 18th. This video comes out Thursday. I'll probably record another video on Sunday or on Monday or Tuesday, and that would come out on Sunday no, I won't. Sunday the 26th, I'm dropping my all signs. Whatever. I'll try to get back to you on whichever video is not an all signs dump. So my all signs dump comes out on the weekend of the 26th, Sunday, so you won't have another video from me then. But in the comments, if you do dream incubate and get a dream answer, I don't want your opinion, a dream answer, put it in the comments. I'll try to read most of my comments. I usually do. I'm always scanning through them. But for this one video, I'm more curious about 3i Atlas. I know I said AI again, 3i Atlas, and what we all are getting in the dream incubation information. All right. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with friends and family, please, and help my channel continue to grow. I do appreciate it. I'll see you all in my next video. Ciao, everybody.